Hello, and welcome to the FOSI 2020 Annual Conference. My name is Pat Vance, and as chair of the Family Online Safety Institute, I'm delighted to introduce this special gathering. I hope that you and your family are safe and well and making the best of these challenging times. So this is our 14th annual conference and the first that we've held as a virtual event. I want to congratulate the whole FOSI team for their dedication and tireless effort to put the conference together, the most well-attended ever, all while working remotely. It hasn't been easy, so thank you. I'd particularly like to welcome our international speakers and participants who are joining us from many different time zones. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. I want to extend a huge thanks to our many generous sponsors who have made this conference possible. I encourage all attendees to visit the virtual exhibit booths and feel free to reach out to exhibitors during the various breaks and networking opportunities throughout. For those of you who are new to FOSI, we're an international nonprofit organization whose mission is to make the online world safer for kids and their families. FOSI convenes leaders in industry, government, and the nonprofit sectors to collaborate and innovate new solutions in the field of online safety. And through research, resources, events, and special projects, we promote a culture of responsibility online and encourage a sense of digital citizenship for all. And this is achieved through an emphasis on the 3 Ps of policy, practices, and parenting. To put it another way, we support enlightened public policy, robust industry practices, and good digital parenting. Our theme for today is building resilience, and many of the speakers, plenaries, and breakout sessions will touch on this subject from a wide variety of angles. Also, stay tuned for the first reveal of our latest research project, looking at attitudes and use of parental controls and online safety tools. I'm particularly looking forward to that. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce FOSI's founder and CEO, Stephen Balkam, to make some opening remarks.
Well, thank you very much for that, Pat, and welcome everyone. While it's disappointing not to be able to meet in person today, we are delighted that we're able to be virtually present and able to accommodate what's going to be a much larger and international audience than our normal physical event in Washington, D.C. I hope you enjoy the presentations, the fireside chats, the panels, and the exhibits. Make sure to meet up with your fellow attendees via direct message or through our networking function that pairs you with other participants. You'll find all these things on the left-hand side of the page. It's also surprisingly fun and great connections can be made, so make sure to try it during the breaks. I also strongly encourage you to visit the many wonderful exhibits that have been created by our sponsors and supporting NGOs. These provide an excellent opportunity to get more information and to talk directly with the companies and organizations who will be with us today. So last year's conference was entitled 2020 Vision, the Future of Online Safety. But even the most farsighted could not have imagined what the year 2020 would hold in store for us. The idea that within a few months, we would move our work, our kids' education, and our social lives completely online would have seemed something like out of science fiction. But this is where we are, using every tool at our disposal to keep ourselves, our loved ones, and our communities safe. And much of this has been made possible by digital technology. However, these changes have also highlighted the great inequalities that are present in our society. And for those of us thinking ahead, we must ensure that we take the lessons from this pandemic and use them to make a fairer world for all. We must work hard to cultivate resilience in ourselves and our children, as well as our schools, workplaces, and communities. We must learn the hard lessons of this time to create greater interdependence on each other and the society in which we live, both online and off. And instead of being overwhelmed and emotionally defeated, we learn to be flexible and spring back to a state as good, if not better, than before. Through a dedicated effort to building resilience, mutual support, and encouragement, we have the power to recover. And it is this idea of recovery and renewal that lies at the heart of our discussions today. In spite of all that has transpired in the past 9 months, we individually and collectively have the ability to make things better. You know, it's sobering to think that if this pandemic happened in, say, 2010, we simply would have canceled this conference. The technology and infrastructure needed to remotely conduct a global online gathering was simply not there. So as devastating as COVID-19 has been, the extraordinary advances in connectivity, video streaming, and virtual meeting platforms have all arrived at just the right time. And somehow, the internet backbone that supports all this unprecedented traffic has been resilient enough to keep us and our devices connected to each other in real time all across the world. Of course, this resiliency does not yet reach everyone in this country, let alone beyond our shores. Bridging the digital divide in the US and around the globe remains of primary importance if we are to see a more equitable and just world. As more people and communities come online, we must provide them the tools and the means to confidently and safely navigate the web. And so today, we ask the incoming Biden transition team and the next Congress to consider a number of proposals and initiatives we believe will help to make the online world safer for kids and their families. Firstly, we call on the Office of the Chief Technology Officer to take a coordinating role in implementing a coherent national online safety strategy. The tech industry, academia, and nonprofit sectors should also be involved in this work, culminating in an annual online safety summit led by the White House. We ask Congress to fund ongoing research into online behaviors and attitudes so as to ensure that policies are evidence-based and tailored to real, not just perceived risks. Meanwhile, the tech industry must prioritize safety by design and take seriously their responsibility to young users. We must continue to push executives and engineers to think rigorously and proactively about children's safety and privacy when it comes to products and services, from inception to release. A most impactful lesson of this year's response to COVID-19 has been truly understanding the importance of technology in education, and indeed for education. Unfortunately, many teachers lack the training and resources to translate the curriculum effectively online, and many students do not have access to the devices and connectivity necessary for online learning. We must empower families by encouraging proper technology use, starting from a young age. As a child's first point of reference for responsible online behavior, and often the most influential role models they will have, it is critical that parents are better supported. So, government awareness campaigns are an important element of this, and more are necessary. Engaged parents working to educate themselves must have resources readily available, both in practical guidance and technical online safety tools. We plan to expand the reach of our good digital parenting resources through collaboration with national organizations, such as the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force program. And lastly, children must be entrusted with the agency and shared responsibility of their own online futures. While adults create a strong foundation of safety practices, children must understand the weight of their actions online, the power of their digital footprint, created by the content they access and post, and whom they choose to interact with. This aptitude and resiliency can be instilled through comprehensive media literacy education. So the disparities we see when it comes to technology cannot continue. It is imperative that we address critical broadband issues such as closing the digital divide, ending the homework gap, and challenges such as the spread of misinformation. All children and families must have equal access to education and employment opportunities. This is a baseline that must be met in order for citizens not to just participate in the modern world, but be afforded the equal right to thrive and reach their full potential. All children deserve the chance to benefit from the tremendous opportunities presented by the internet, and their well-being is a shared task that must rise above political, professional, and personal lines. So we look forward to working with the next administration and all those who advocate for the online protection of children to achieve the promises that the internet provides to the next generation of Americans. Now, what is exciting about today's conference is that we will hear the latest research on the attitudes that parents and young people themselves have towards parental controls and online safety tools. We will delve into the psychological impacts of technology and how best to build resilience in ourselves and in our kids. We will explore the public policy landscape, the efficacy of laws and regulations, and what developments might be needed in the years to come. And most importantly, we will have all of you connecting from across the country and around the world, bringing your experiences, expertise, and commitment to these extraordinary challenges and opportunities.